morning, and welcome to the third day of SBC Gaming Summit. We cannot fight match fixers alone. This is a global phenomenon, and it actually goes beyond any boundaries and any countries. So we believe strongly about talking to sport organizations, public authorities, law enforcement agencies, as well as sports betting operators worldwide. Companies have been also in need of reviewing costs because if we talk about sports betting operators, whether lotteries or not, there has been zero sports, and this has been an issue, a huge issue on the profit and loss accounts of many companies. So significant cost optimization programs have been implemented.
Sports betting, of course, is hit the most by this virus. We can only offer now Belarus football, Taiwanese basketball, and football from Nicaragua. Of course, you don't make a lot of money with these bets. We don't have a legalized online casino, so we cannot move to casino or somewhere else. So the sports betting online, whether it's online or offline, that's a tough business.
There is also a resilience by the retail network to acknowledge, especially in the lottery space, that digital is needed. Now this will be accelerated. Retailers will see this as an opportunity, and they, above all, will see that this is the real terminal. This is the real terminal, what you will be carrying in your pocket. Whether you will be queuing up to place a lottery ticket or virtual bet or whatever, this is what you need to carry.
The key thing will be that how well you can manage your customer relations through the mobile device, whether the customer is playing offline or online, but the whole customership has to be built on the mobile devices. In terms of responsible gaming, the tools are much easier to develop on the online channel.
If you say you genuinely innovate, then I think you have to embrace failure. A friend of mine works for a mid-sized tech company in the US. He typically has 4 projects per quarter, and he has a failure quota. They expect to see him with at least one of his 4 projects failing during that period. And if they're not failing, there's question asked around, are you pushing hard enough? Are you being too safe? Why are you not trying things that push the boundaries? And I think if you get to that point where you accept failure, and it's genuinely not a bad mark or a stigma against the people who fail, then that's when you encourage real innovation.
I go back to the kind of financial uncertainty, very mindful of the financial insecurity of many customers. Our customer data platform, we're enhancing it, building advanced behavioral models to allow our partners to identify and project problem gambling in advance and help keep the gaming experience entertaining and particularly within the means.
The whole model's been blown up such that the only content that you've currently got is, for example, the Belarusian League, which has been sold to just about everybody and is currently taking as much turnover as the Premier League. That puts the entire wages to turnover of the event out of sync and means that the fixers can afford to place large bets and pay small fees to get the match fixed. Now, not saying specifically that anything's gone wrong there, but that's the problem that has now been created largely. Without that element, fixing doesn't happen. You cannot fix an NBA game or an NFL game these days without major kind of fraud type issue. But if you've got massive turnover on a very, very, very small league, fixing becomes incredibly easy. You just need a few people and you're done.
There's no doubt the betting landscape's changed significantly. The industry, like all industries, is looking very different to even how it was a few weeks ago. Our members are telling us they're having to adapt to the new normal where table tennis is their highest volume product on a Saturday afternoon, which, if you mentioned that a few weeks ago, it would have seemed ludicrous.
Networks of operators like GLMS or ABIA are important because we as soon as we have a question, we have to check both with of course, the sporting organizations, but also within the networks of our operators, because data are often missing, and we need very fresh and local information as much as possible to check, the quality of what we are offering.
a good thing for, especially in this period, is that our clients can place their bet in a retail shop using their own mobile phone, so they wouldn't have to use the touchscreen, and we see that growing.
In terms of virtuals online, traditional, the last 4 or 5 years that they have been introduced globally, I would say was a small filler. These days have been proven to be more than a filler, but they have substituted a lot of this lost revenue. I cannot say how much, however, to our case, it has been almost 50% of the sports betting.
Contactless payments, it's one of two most important things we decided to go with. It was on our roadmap, but it became priority a few weeks ago, so we will introduce it as something what we find logical.
You're very much competing, as you say. I mean, when was the last time any of us walked into Starbucks and paid with anything other than, our Starbucks card flashing it at the mobile phone at the scanner? And we've got to do that in the lottery world to adapt. And it's very difficult for the lotteries, because if you look at traditionally where lottery terminals are, right, they're in convenience stores, and if you think of the US lottery market, the 7-Eleven lobby is a really powerful lobby. So what the 7-Eleven lobby have is, their aim in this is to delay the land-based lottery terminal being in their 7-Eleven store as long as possible, because it drives footfall. But ultimately, the lotteries have to think about the next generation of lottery players.
The life of the proprietary lottery terminal is coming to an end, and I think the digital pathway will be probably, as Jari says, well, I hope it is, because it's my business, but it will be a mobile integration piece, and the proprietary lottery terminal is near its end of life. Where we still have retail, it will be integrated directly into the point of sale equipment, and there will be a huge merger between people buying pseudo retail and online, and I see that is happening in the next 2 to 3 years in most major lotteries.
I think we have learned that reliance on a brick and mortar sales channel is probably not the best model moving forward, at least for the next couple of years. So I really do think that we're going to see a whole lot quicker adoption of digital platforms and finding ways to partner creatively with our brick and mortar retail partners.
Now, we're certainly getting questions even from the press. Why aren't you guys selling on the internet? And so I think there's going to be a sea change in attitude. I think, first of all, people understand that selling on the internet is no more dangerous than selling anywhere. If anything, we are probably more capable of enforcing responsible gaming guidelines in a digital environment than we are in the anonymous bricks and mortar environment.
I think we're going to have to be very careful to listen to what our customers want now and figure out ways to adjust our business model to meet their expectations.